So the goshawk goes in this position where all the feathers were being like hidden by the sun in this direction, and she was full extended, and I just have this pure image where this grayish, bluish kind of goshawk color going after the jackrabbit, and it was just like I live for this moment, that every time I close my eyes, the goshawk was closer and closer and closer and closer, and there was the sun just perfect going after the two the jackrabbit. So it was just, I cannot erase it.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Falconry Told podcast, and I'm going to start things off a little differently this episode because I feel like there's some props that need to be given and a few milestones that need to be announced. But first, I want to say thank you to Israel Zane and John Goodell and Kent Carney for those last few episodes that were put out. I think they were really well done, and I enjoyed them a lot. And I wanted to say another special thank you to John Goodell for sharing that conversation with Tom Cade with us and allowing us to do our part in helping to get the rest of that conversation out to the rest of the falconry community. I hope everyone else out there enjoyed it as much as I did, so I just wanted to say thank you again for that. And the next set of thank yous goes to you, the listeners, because thanks to you, we just recently hit the 100,000 download marker. As of this recording, we're right around 103,500-ish downloads, and while we understand that's not necessarily a huge number in the podcasting world, for such a niche topic like falconry and the size of our community, we're just extremely humbled and grateful that you guys keep tuning in to hear these stories and, keep listening and getting something out of these. So, thank you all again so very much for your continued support, and we hope you keep tuning back in with us. This has been a great ride so far, and we're going to keep doing it for as long as we can. And special thank you as well to NAFA and the Falconry Fund for the approval of the small grant that enabled us to bring you yet another milestone, which is our first international series. And I was able to go down to Mexico in the early part of February for about a week and meet with 7 different falconers and get some of their stories and see some good hawking. And they were very accommodating, and their hospitality was second to none. And I'll be forever grateful to them for their kindness and just them accommodating me for that whole week and taking time out of their schedules and lives and everything else to basically enable this to happen. So thank you again to all my new Mexican falconer friends, and to NAFA and the Falconry Fund for your small grant program that enables things like this to happen. I hope you all continue the program into the future, and it's very much appreciated. And we also can't leave out our friends at Marshall Radio and Pursuit Falconry Magazine. Marshall Radio's support over the years has meant a lot in my personal falconry use, as well as their continued support of the podcast. I hope they continue to stick with us in years to come. And if you want more information on their products, as always, you can head to marshallradio.com. And if you want to get your hands on a great new falconry publication, I definitely recommend, if you haven't already, to check out Pursuit Falconry and Conservation Magazine. For more information on their publication, you can just head to pursuitfalconry.co.uk. It's definitely worth the read, and they've got a lot of good stuff coming out here in the near future, so definitely check it out. All right, and now that those thank yous and acknowledgments have been addressed, we can go ahead and turn things over to the first conversation had from our first official international podcast series coming to you from Monterrey, Mexico. And this conversation was had with my new Mexican falconer friend, Diego Arpee. We really hope you enjoy this series, and here we go. Thanks, Diego, for hosting tonight and for cooking that pretty amazing dinner.
You're more than welcome here in Mexico. You have your home here, and I hope it's not your first time.
This is totally my first time in Mexico, But no, it's
probably your last time. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry about my English.
So. No, you're good. Hopefully it's not going to be my last time. I mean, there's there's definitely a lot of things that I would like to still see around here and still do that unfortunately I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have a chance to do in just a 1 week time span, especially with an agenda involved. But no, I mean, you guys' hospitality so far has been outstanding. You know, I can't say enough good things, and you know, I hope that someday I will be able to repay the kindness and the favor. But yeah, man, it's been a good experience so far, and you know, hopefully the rest of the week is is as good as the first couple of days have been. You know,
it sure will.
Yeah, but yeah, so you know, when we were talking earlier, you know, you were kind of talking about some of the different I don't know, some of the different things that you're involved in, and kind of what your schedule's been like, and what did you say that you said you're a lawyer? Is that right?
Yeah, I actually studied law school here in Mexico, and then did my master at Berkeley. So yeah, I'm a lawyer practically, but I work in a school, actually, a group school. So I was telling you after the dinner, or before the dinner actually, that I want to implement this kind of program, Falconry, to involve in the young generations, so they can get involved in being part of it. I mean, it's just an amazing sport, and it gives you all this value and all this appreciation to nature that you actually you kind of get this knowledge, and you want to just pass it on. You know, it's not only about hunting; it's about everything that involves in it. So it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. You know, like I said, when we were talking about it a little bit before. I can understand, just a different approach, kind of like, when we were talking about, if you really want to facilitate change, the best way to go about doing that in some instances is to get involved and start educating people, from a young age, so that whenever the future generations get older and they start becoming more active in whether it be local politics or whatever the different things might be, I mean that's the best way to facilitate change with certain things is just to get more people aware and just a little bit more knowledgeable about certain stuff.
Yeah, I agree totally with that. And the key part of it is you have to inspire the next generation. So passing this knowledge is by the example of doing how things have to be done, right? Because you can practice falconry, but there's many ways you can practice falconry, and there's really bad ways of practicing falconry. So we, as the older generation, have this responsibility to pass the right way, and so this sport might live for all the time,
Yeah, I mean it's survived thousands of years.
Yeah.
So ideally, we would love to see it survive thousands more.
Hopefully,
but I mean, geez, who knows what the world's going to look like by?
Well, it's different kind of factors, because you have this environmental motions going on, and you have these cities that are growing so fast, and so you don't have. I think falconry has evolved into practically urban falconry. That if we were talking this probably 1,000 years ago, you were hunting so you can eat, and we all falconers know that. So I think we have really a big issue to really kind of give this next generations the way that like real falconry is about. It's about hunting. It's about passion. It's about building a relationship with your raptor. That it's. I mean, I cannot explain it how. just by telling you, probably because you're a falconer, you can understand me. But someone might listen to this and it's like, what are you talking about? You know?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. But I mean, like, so to start a program like that,
Yeah.
or to start, an inter-school like falconry youth, club or movement or something like. How would you even go about doing that here in Mexico? Like, I don't even know what would involve that.
Well, we have to see the reality of the situation here in Mexico. Our government, I mean, as many other countries, has so many issues that raptors are the last ones, So our responsibility as falconers are to support this and to give advice to the government that this is important. Raptors are important, and I mean, everything is important. But as our movement is, we can, by our chair, we can practice kind of making, as I was telling you just a few seconds ago, involve next generation. And how we're going to do this? Probably in the rehabilitation part, because our government doesn't care about rehabilitation. They see a broken red tail, and they don't know even if it's a red tail, an eagle. It's sad, but it's true, and this is the reality. Hopefully, with this training new generations, as you mentioned it, they're in the future. They're going to be part of a government, part of a wealthy organization, or some political parts, and they're going to get more involved and acknowledge this part, that it's really, really good for, society, for the environment, for everything.
Yeah, it really is interesting to see, like I said, just how things can change with certain aspects of our culture.
Yeah.
If we just put a little bit of effort into, just time, effort, and energy into kind of cultivating, and planting those seeds of knowledge, with certain things. But, I don't even know, like I said, what's involved with, all of the, how do I put this? The behind the scenes things of, like being able to implement that type of program, like in schools and things like that, like what the legal issues are behind that, or what it takes to get a school to accept that, or
well, it's never done here in Mexico, so probably it's gonna be like a pre-experiment, project. So I cannot tell you what's the different or the issues that I might get or in the future might have to overcome. So probably the legal part is not really that difficult. I've been talking to Mexican authorities, and they are really excited about this program. The thing is that the part is that Mexican government doesn't give you any funds to run this. So I'm ashamed. I'm a Mexican, and I'm ashamed that you're gonna rehabilitate that raptor, hopefully, and they're gonna say they did it, Mm-hmm. And the actual thing is that you did it. So that's if you want to talk straight, but that's a thing. Mm-hmm. It hasn't happened right now because we don't have the program, but I know falconers that actually receive these injured raptors, and they pay for veterans. They paid for the treatment. They pay for everything, and then they have to call the authorities to I don't know. I'm sorry about my English, but I'm thinking Spanish and trying to speak in English, so it's kind of difficult right now with the ideas. But they try to liberate these raptors into the wild, and they have to ask for permission, But authorities didn't have this all the process on the funds, anything about that. So they just, like what we say in Mexico, colgarse la medalla. It's I only put the medal here that I did it. but I didn't practice anything about it. I didn't get involved in the process,
Yeah.
So it's kind of trying to put something in society and inspire young kids to get involved in falconry, you know?
Well, I mean, I think it's a good idea, and I mean, you can only can control what you can control.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
It's not like you can, change the way things work in government overnight, or wave a magic wand and make things be a certain way. So, I mean, the best way. I mean,
you have to start somewhere,
right? Exactly.
And you have to take the first step,
Right, and I can't really think of much of a better way to kind of put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. By trying to facilitate change, than trying to come up with a program like that or something. And I mean, if you're wanting to really talk the talk, you need to be able to walk the walk as well.
That's true.
And by starting or trying, at least making the attempt, even if it never gets off the ground, or if something comes along and derails the idea or something, at least you can say you tried to implement it, and you tried to facilitate change, for the better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a good idea. And, especially whenever there is just an abundant lack of education and knowledge when it comes to, to this particular subject.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it being a big uphill battle, but if someone like you is willing to take it on and, try and make it happen, then, go forth and prosper, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, it sounds like your passion and ambition with all of that is at least in the right place, and I'm glad that there's people like you that are kind of trying to, facilitate change in a positive way in that regard.
Thanks.
So, yeah, you're welcome. Like I said, in the short time that I've gotten to know you guys, at least here, it seems like you're, a fairly, passionate group of guys that really believe strongly in doing things as right of way as how. And, I mean, that's all you can really ask for, I think.
I don't know if you can say this. The only thing to do the right thing is the right thing. It's not the way around. So we like to do the. This is a way of living. This is a way of practice falconry and a way of life. How to live it, how to I don't know. Just, I mean, it's. I feel even I'll feel bad if I didn't do anything about it, because I know it's an issue. You be an example here. We just received a male peregrine that was probably injured by, I don't know, a cable car. Who knows, right? We just received it, and Rodrigo just paid for the vet and everything. It's now in my house, and we're gonna try to. Liberate it soon enough when it's strong enough to fly, but it's kind of giving a little bit of your time for something bigger,
Mm-hmm. Trying to dedicate part of your life to something that's ultimately you feel is bigger than yourself. Yeah, I mean, that's always a noble cause and a noble effort, for sure. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I really hope that you're successful.
Thank you.
As far as the rest of the journey on how you kind of got to this point, I mean, what made you, initially, get that itch? What?
It's actually pretty funny. When I was a younger age, about 9 years, and probably up to 20 years old, my family always had a fishing trip to Tampico, which is near Texas, near South Padre Island. So when my dad that passed away was driving, I always look at the window and count raptors. I didn't know anything about raptors, but it was just a glitch that I needed to see raptors, and I started by learning in books, and then reading a little more articles and something like that. And I never knew about falconry until I was about 18 years old. Then I figured out there was a club here in Monterrey, Mexico. And I asked I searched the web, you can find everything on the web right nowadays. And then I became an apprentice, and that's how I started,
Yeah, so in other words, you're even though there's no official, sponsor apprenticeship format and regulation here in Mexico, something that you tried to go about doing in your mind would be the right thing, by going through the official steps that really weren't official here.
Yeah, I know, and it's funny part because I don't know how I managed to get the outlines of the manual of the California Hawking Club exam. So actually, I did study and I applied exam myself. So just to figure out how much I did know and how much I wanted to know. So it was kind of fun, a process, and it's actually like a filter, because someone that sees that you have a raptor, and then you see the raptor, then you see the raptor fly to you, to the globe, and when you call it, it comes to you, and then you see them hunt. It's the most beautiful thing you ever seen. So it's so easy for people to get excited about this. So you have to have this filter. So many people can practice falconry, not because they're bad ones, because they don't have time. This sport requires time, requires money, requires being able to check your raptor 24 hours a day. It's not like you having a gun and you put it on the closet or in your safeguard, and then take it until the next season, So you have to have kind of filters, because falconry is not for everyone. It's sad, but it's true. And in this modern way of life, it's even harder, because we are working all the time. People don't have access to flying to spots where they can fly raptors. I know it's probably an issue that it's well known on falconers, but it's important to say that, because when you acquire a raptor, you have the responsibility of a life, your raptor's life, and it's going to be your companion for probably the next 10, 20, 15 years. I don't know. And it's just becomes part of your family. So being able to here in Mexico, without this without laws and without any other thing that regulates this, doing this process, this filter. So actually, for me, it was like I really wanted to do this, So it was a I don't know, a wow situation. I really like this, and I want to get more involved in this. And here I am, 12 years after that first sight of raptors.
Yeah, no, it's neat that you were counting these birds and stuff, and didn't even really know what you're counting. Most people know red-tailed hawks, for example, they call them chicken hawks, or they call them something else or whatever. It's amazing how many people start off not even knowing the difference between a red-tail versus all these different species. And I'm no exception. I didn't know anything initially either. A lot of people don't. But no, it's kind of cool that, like I said, kind of fell into it that way.
So it just came all natural, It's like a sweet process that I just emerged into it. So it's really cool for me. And I just love it. It's one of my passions.
It's great. And, like I said, it's great that, especially with some of the different knowledge that you already have through your education and different aspects of what you've been able to accomplish, for an occupation and stuff, hopefully that helps expedite or at least makes your your pursuit in the other avenues of things a little bit easier. But you said you've been doing this for what, like 12?
Yeah, 12 years. I mean, it's been not all the 12 years, not all the seasons, because as I said earlier, I did my master's degree, so I have to go. I lived in Spain for a little bit, and then I studied in Washington, Boston. So, I mean, I tried to always being involved in, even if I was studying abroad, but it's been 12 years if you can count this, right?
So in the 12 years that you've been flying birds, then, I mean, talk a little bit about, some of the different species that you've flown. I know we had this conversation earlier, but nobody else has heard it yet.
I know it's probably my first word was a Harris hawk, female Harris hawk, which I loved it. Love her. It's amazing Harris hawk. I killed my first jackrabbit, and it's one of my kind of I don't know, I can't erase that flight, for the excitement, for the accomplishment, for being able to hunt with my Harris hawk. I also have flown probably a goshawk. I mean, I flew a German goshawk, and recently I just flew a Russian goshawk. So that's about it. I mean, I flew a peregrine, but it's not in hunting, just getting her exercise,
Yeah, lure flying,
yeah,
stuff like that. As far as I know that you help Rodrigo some with the different aspects of the breeding projects and things like that, but
yeah, and it's actually my first year as a breeder. Mm-hmm. You were early in the chambers, and it's my first time that I have a pair that actually is copulating and have 4 eggs. And we're so excited, and it's my first time as probably a breeder. Soon enough.
What are you thinking that you're gonna fly or try next?
I'm trying to get a goshawk, probably. Trying to get a goshawk from our pairs that Rodrigo has, and try to hunt jackrabbit, dogs, and whatever I can get right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, and if I remember right, you said that as far as the breeding project, you were going to be taking over mostly the falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what species did you say that you
we have a Norwegian falcons. We have also red nape, Barbary. We have Natum, which is the local peregrine species, subspecies. We also have, if I can recall it right now, Scottish peregrine. So that's about it.
As far as just your situation, I know you've kind of like you said, you've traveled abroad, and you've kind of learned in different parts of the world, for your education. But I mean, have you pretty much always lived around this area?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, pretty much born and raised in
Mexico.
And you said you also had some ties to Texas too, didn't you?
Yeah, my grandfather is from Armenia, but he was he then moved to Chicago. He lived probably most of his life in Chicago, then moved to Texas, and after that moved to Mexico. So we have ties to Texas. I mean, we have family in Texas. So and from Monterrey we have it's just 2-hour drive, so it's practically too close to the border, So yep.
As far as the kind of how you fell into all of this, I mean, how kind of going back to the school idea, like how soon are you trying to get that going, or are you in the process trying
probably
to
next year? Yeah, we're trying this. I mean, it's been a complicated year, with this virus going all around, the COVID. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard for us schools to survive, being able to teach throughout the computer, iPads, and everything. Mm-hmm. But I know with the vaccine, hopefully we can get back to normal. I mean, being more normal kind of education part. So we're trying to accomplish these programs and different kind of going or students going to different sanctuaries, elephant sanctuaries and panda sanctuaries, and even I tried to reach the Alaskan Raptor Center if we can go visit them, and probably try to implement this program not only for raptors but for other species that kids don't have this opportunity. I mean, we have seen kids that doesn't know even touch grass. Everything now is plastic. Even grass now is plastic in our houses. It's kind of a really ambitious project for us. And we're trying to apply it probably next year.
That's pretty soon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
We really have all design for our muse and the rehabilitation chambers. I already talked to vets. They're more than they're excited to be part of this. I talked to Rodrigo about this, and he's like, well, we can try this. I mean, there's an opportunity. We can be the first one to implement it, and probably it should be a successful project. I already talked to Mexican authorities, and they were more excited about it. So kind of everything is naturally going on their way to achieve this program.
What are you going to try and do then to get the funding for? I mean, and you mentioned something when we talked before all this, something about volunteer work and things like that.
Yeah, it's going to be an open volunteer for the community, for the kids, and there are going to be several I don't know, candy sales, probably like we call them here in Mexico, and they're gonna make rifas. We call it you buy a ticket for a thing, and it's lottery,
Raffle.
Yeah, mm-hmm. That's a word. Sorry.
I know, it's all good.
So it's gonna be different activities to fundraise this, right? And it's gonna be also a part of it where you can donate some money to the program. I will invite you when we start this program, and you can visit us again and look around it, and you'll see how much process we have done.
Yeah, I'd love to, for sure. Like I said, I wish there was more things like that even in the U.S., I mean, in other places, but... maybe you'll be that spark that lights
hopefully. I mean, I've seen, and we talk later about this. Is there's in South Africa there's a university, Falcon University, which has the huge program about falcons and how they teach the same. It's kind of copying this kind of program, but this is. We're talking about university. I'm trying to implement it in middle school, So it's kind of a really, really, really good, ambitious project,
Sure. Well, I guess now, would be a good time to go ahead and just kind of switch topics a little bit and, go back to, just some of your experiences. And, you have been in it a decent amount of time, but what kind of changes or, different things have you noticed, especially around here, have kind of affected, your falconry or, some of the different changes that you've had to either work around or learn from or whatever, just in your own falconry practice?
Yeah, I think it's a common problem. It's about the cities, especially Monterrey, they're growing so fast. So finding a good spot to fly and to hunt, it's getting you have to drive an hour and a half, and it doesn't bother me because it's part of it, it's really having a alone time, actually. So, and I love to drive, but it's kind of a problem now. Because, humans we have the capability to destroy everything. It's so fast, And when we get aware of it, it's probably too late for it. So that's one problem that's cities population are growing so fast. Another thing is that media can be, I don't know, Facebook or Instagram can be a blessing and a curse, because now and I don't know I want to be rude about this, but many people that shouldn't be falconers are being falconers, because they see this video about a harris hawk hunting, and they acquire a harris hawk, and they don't know how to feed them. And then they die. And here in Mexico, it's so easy to get another raptor, and when you look around, that guy already killed 30 animals. So too many. It shouldn't happen, So it's kind of the two main issues we have now, So our mini club, we call it, it's trying to do it the right way, by example, how you have to get first the knowledge, then acquire your raptor, And I mean, it has to happen all around the worldwide, It's kind of a common problem, but we're trying to help this not be a super issue,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the only way you can start by doing that is just focusing on your immediate area, and then there's I forgot who it was that kind of I heard this mindset from first. It's going to bug me now that I can't remember, but they said basically just start on a local level. Start trying to make an impact on your own block. Your own city, whatever, and then everything just from there seems to kind of have a ripple effect and kind of takes care of itself from there on. But so I think it's a good approach. You guys seem to be doing all you can really do, and worrying about yourselves, and hopefully more people will just see it and realize that seems to be a more efficient way of doing it and adopt it. Well, as far as just some of the more fun experiences that you've had, or some of the more fun stories or whatever, this is a good time to go ahead and start talking about a couple of your more memorable.
Now that I'm sitting here, comes all these different flights, but probably the two flights that I just can't erase from my mind. It's my first jackrabbit with my Harris hawk. That it's just blew out my mind. I completed the circle. It's like I finally did it. You put so much effort to it. I took the test. Be an apprentice and an observer. Then acquire my first Harris hawk, and it's just. I don't know. Probably any falconer can not remember the first quarry, So it's kind of my first and my blessing for this closing this circle for falconry, and that was the sparkle that this is what my passion is, and my second flight that it was just like being in a picture, It was a few months ago, actually, when I was flying my Russian goshawk. So it's a perfect scenario where I had the sun on my back, and it was about 8 a.m., so it's this early sun and kind of a reddish, and I was hunting jackrabbits, and there was this field, it just seemed like a golf course, and I was walking through it, and then suddenly a jackrabbit just jumps up and starts like running hell, and my goshawk, I didn't even had the reaction to open my hand. She was already in the midway, as usually happens, and then the jackrabbits start running and kind of to the left side, So the goshawk goes in this position where all the feathers were being like hidden by the sun in this direction, and she was full extended, and I just have this pure image where this grayish, bluish kind of goshawk color going poof, poof, poof after the jackrabbit. And it was just like, I live for this moments, that every time I close my eyes, the goshawk was closer and closer and closer and closer. And there was the sun just perfect going after the two, the jackrabbit. So it was just, I cannot erase it. I called after that flight, and I caught the jackrabbit. I called my wife and say, I just had the perfect flight of my life, It was just amazing.
And she was just like,
yeah,
that's nice, honey.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's typically the response I usually get to.
So this flight is just like a painting, It's the perfect picture of a goshawk going that way and flying all extended and going after the jackrabbit. So it's just in my mind,
Well, yeah, it's the there's always at least a couple of flights or a couple of hunts that always stick out, more so than the others. But
actually, I can remember one that I was so amazed about it. We were flying two female, harrier-hawk. And we were walking through the woods and then kind of a open field, and suddenly just something flushed out of the bushes. We have no reaction of it. We were flying freely. The harrier-hawk. They were perching in a tree, and they synchronized perfectly. And then they went out. We had no idea what was running, So what we could see was a working of this harrier-hawk, how they manage. I know you as a falconer, that how they communicate and by just movement and small tail movement and this kind of silent perfect communication. Mm-hmm. And we caught a correcaminos, what is called a roadrunner. Roadrunner. Yeah.
Okay.
We managed to get him alive and get it out, but it was just like, wow, how they managed to the flight was so synchronized, so perfect. Yeah. So that was one of the flights that I remember when I was like at my younger age,
As far as, your favorite bird or whatever, I'm assuming the last bird that you flew, I think you mentioned before to me that Russian goshawk was your favorite bird, and then it met its untimely, unfortunate demise by, was it Asper?
I think we think it was Asper. Here in Mexico we don't have this laboratories that can confirm, so we have to take the sample to the U.S. and it took 15 days to tell us. So we started the treatment as Asper, and 1 week before that, just passed away. So,
yeah, that's
sad story, but it's part of it,
Well, is there anything else that you can think of as far as any other notable stuff? What do you just in the time you've been learning from Rodrigo and helping with his rehab stuff and his breeding stuff and everything, what do you think is the most important thing that you've learned in your time of doing all this?
I think it's the importance of details, and in hunting and breeding and everything, and also you have to be always open to learn. I tell myself that I'm like the eternal apprentice, I'm always trying to learn different ways, different materials, and always trying to give it the next step, I already breed this kind of falcons. What's the next step, But details are just, they're everything. they're everything, you know. And even in hunting or breeding, they're kind of when I was talking to Rodrigo, when I was hunting with the Russian goshawk a few months ago, 2 months ago actually, I was telling him that I felt different because now I was alone and I had to like read the field, you know, where to walk, how to the wind, how it was going, and to read kind of where the jackrabbits like to settle and everything. So trying to mimetize or being able to read these details, it's I think what it's different between being successful or not, you know. So it's mainly two things. It's being able to put attention into details and always be open-minded to learn more, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's great, and that kind of also in part, you know, kind of answers my, you know, the next question that I had too, which is I usually, you know, ask people what kind of you know, advice or you know, little bits of wisdom or knowledge they'd like to, you know, impart on people or whatever. But I mean, that pretty much answers that too, as it is. But thank you again so much for all the hospitality and. You know, I mean, it's meant a lot, and I really appreciate everything that you guys have done to make this, you know, trip really, really cool. You know, so
I'm so glad you're here, and as I told you before, this is your home, and I hope it's not your first time, and your last time. Sorry again. And
just, very good.
Yeah. So, I hope I can see you more often here in Mexico. You know.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I mean, you'll get all my info, be able to keep in touch, and like I said, man, thanks again so much for your time and
you're more than
you know,
welcome.
for welcoming in. You know, like I said, it's meant a lot. So
thanks, man.
All right, well, we'll talk again soon, and yeah, we'll just go ahead and have another beer here and
sure,
and call it a night. You know,
done.
All right, bud.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.